Hey everyone, this is Bill. Welcome to the Color and Pageantry, our portion of the channel here where we cover college football. Today, we're going to reveal our Week 1 Top 25 of 2023. We're going to look at some teams that are hot, some teams that are not. We're going to see who fell out of our preseason Top 25. Take a look at some teams that are looking to get into the Top 25 with some strong performances. So let's get after it. First of all, let's look at who fell out and who's looking to get in. Okay, folks, first let's take a look at who fell out of our preseason top 25. Now, Clemson was just physically beaten up at Duke. Now, we knew Duke was a good football team, but we had them going about 8-4, fifth, I think, in the ACC. But Clemson's got some problems. We thought they could overcome a lot of them. They've got some great players on defense, but boy, they missed some skill position talent there. Didn't get anything done, so they're out. Texas Tech, another team, they went to Now, Wyoming's got a great-looking field out there. Did you guys see that? That is just picturesque. Wyoming's tough. You know, the air's thin out there, but Texas Tech should have been able to handle that. Disappointed to see they weren't able to get that done. That made us kind of look bad because we thought Texas Tech had a chance. All their returning talent had a chance to really be good. They still could be. Wyoming may be a lot better than we think. Wyoming's a very consistent team out there in the Mountain West, so we'll keep an eye on them. And Iowa won. They did not generate the point total that they thought they might, and they did fall out of our top 25. More on what some other people did rather than just what Iowa did. So those are the three teams that fell out. Now, among our teams looking to get in, we have each of the teams that fell out. Clemson, Texas Tech, and Iowa. They're all looking to get back in there. Now, we're also looking at teams that want to get. We look at Miami. Miami has a chance with Texas A&M this weekend to win the ball game. Miami looked pretty good in the opener. We think Miami's going to be better this year, but they do tease us a lot. So a lot of things are going to happen there for the Hurricanes. We like Kentucky and Arkansas out of the SEC. Both are quality football teams. Pitt is a good football team. Tulane has Ole Miss this weekend. That's going to be very interesting. Mississippi State, now they won 9 games last year. They are not a pushover. Be careful about them. Other teams we're looking at, Maryland, Louisville. North Carolina State's a good team. They got a big game coming up this weekend, I think Notre Dame's playing them, I believe. Minnesota, the win over Nebraska, they escaped. We're looking at them. Auburn looked good. Now, South Carolina lost to North Carolina. Kind of disappointing game for South Carolina. We think they'll rebound okay. Missouri and Kansas are really good teams. Watch them. And then we've got some others we're looking at. Also, want to see what Michigan State and Oklahoma State have this year. Those are two teams we have our eyes on. And, of course, TCU. Wow. They got thumped. Well, close game, but, man, they gave up gazillion yards to Colorado. We'll get to Colorado in a minute. But these are the teams looking to get in to the top 25 in the near future. Now we're ready for who's hot and who's not. Let's start with who's not hot, and we must start with Clemson. That was an eye-opening ball game the other night. We know Duke is good. We talked about it in our preseason ACC video. We talked about it in our national video. They have an outstanding quarterback. We just did not expect Duke to handle Clemson on this evening. Duke's not sneaking up on anybody this year. All the coaches around the ACC, they know Duke is much improved. They're a good football team. We had them going about 8-4. But the way Clemson got pushed around, they could not get anything going. They could not get receivers open down the field to even allow Klubnik to hit anybody. He was not above the fray to make the plays himself. And then the running game had miscues. So the offensive line not quite what it used to be. Clemson's got some work to do before Florida State gets there. We think, they're going to get it fixed by the time Florida State rolls around. I'm sure they'll be ready for the Seminoles. But, boy, Clemson has got some work to do. And they got long-term issues they need to take a look at. We all know the elephant in the room. They don't like to use the portal. They may have to get to it, or they're going to see more results like this. Now, Baylor. Baylor had a bad year last year. We thought Baylor was going to be able to come back. They got a sharp quarterback. He was doing some dealing, but they were still behind Texas State at home. Now, Dave Aranda is considered to be a great football coach. Many big schools were looking to hire Aranda when they had openings, but he stayed at Baylor. Guys, that's not good. And they got Utah coming into town this weekend. They had better get the helmet strapped up because this is not looking good in Waco. So we got our eyes on that situation. That's really not good. And then TCU. Boy, TCU's had a ferocious defense over the years. But, I mean, when you talk about what happened against Georgia, we know Georgia's good. Now, come on now, Georgia. But, my goodness, TCU, they've lost their defensive way. I don't know what's going on over there, but, man, they got it handed to them. And that's just not very good at all for for TCU. They got some work to do as well. So those are three teams that are not hot right now. So what teams are hot? Well, Florida State looked really good. They beat a very good LSU team handily. And we just talked about Duke. What a fantastic performance by the Duke Blue Devils. They were physical against Clemson. Punched them right in the face. And Riley Leonard, that kid can play quarterback. We talked about it. He's a very good player. Could not believe Duke could run the ball like they did. And they made their pass throws. I got to tell you, Duke, very, very... Colorado, ladies and gentlemen. Shedeur Sanders, prime time. Are you kidding? Man, they backed it up. They put yardage all over the place on TCU. They didn't have a lot of success stopping TCU, but they won the ball game, and that's the most impressive thing. Hey, Deion is going to get it running. Now, we thought about 4-8 for Colorado. We just thought it was going to take some time. But Deion's a winner. He's going to win, and they will get good, and apparently a heck of a lot more quickly than we thought. So Colorado's a team on the rise. And we like UCLA. I mean, they didn't win big, but UCLA is a team, if they can get that freshman quarterback going, and he got in the game and made some great throws, that's a team we're really looking at right there that could make some noise down the road. So looking forward to that. And Washington, man, they look like they could click on all cylinders. Washington, definitely a playoff threat. What kind of quarterback is that Michael Penix? That guy can sling it. So Washington is another team off to a really good start. Okay, folks, let's begin running down our top 25. Coming in at 25, we have Illinois. Now, we started them out ranked 21st. We picked them to actually win a very highly contested West in the division in the Big Ten. They really struggled, but they did get the win against MAC Conference championship contender Toledo. Toledo's a good football team. I think Phil Steele had Toledo ranked 22nd in his preseason poll. So they're a good football team. Illinois barely got that win at home, but it was a big win, and that it just counts in the W column. But we thought Illinois would be a little bit better than that right now. On the line of scrimmage, they didn't win that as decisively as we thought they might, so we dropped them a little bit. Into the top 25, we've got UCLA. Now, UCLA put that new freshman quarterback, Dante Moore, in the game. He had some very nice throws. They did win against a Coastal Carolina team. Now, Coastal Carolina is not bad. So that was a good win for UCLA, getting out of the gate. Kansas State from the Big 12, they're hanging in there at 23rd. We like the Wildcats. We like their coach, like their program. Texas A&M is 22nd. The Aggies have a big game this Saturday against the Miami Hurricanes. Going to tell us a lot about Jimbo and Texas A&M in that ballgame. And Wisconsin, the jump around. They took the Buffalo Bills apart 37-17 up there in Madison. So Wisconsin looking good. Now kind of moves into the favorite position, if you will, there in the West. Still a lot of football to be played up there. 20th, we got Colorado. Now, can you imagine? Now, we thought Colorado would go about 4-8 this year. We knew they could score some points. We didn't think they could stop anybody, and they really didn't. They did both Saturday, but they won the game. And they showed some offensive firepower between Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Boy, that was a great eye-opening experience. They got some great young skill people, and the line was effective. That's where they were going to get killed, was a line of scrimmage. Offensively, anyway, it was effective. Deion's a winner. He's going to win sooner than later, apparently. They've got Nebraska, the old Big 8 rival, in Boulder this weekend. That Sea of Red, it's going to be, I guarantee you, Fox is going to get some big ratings at noon. But Colorado, we got to respect. We have to respect. They're 20th. North Carolina. A lot of people thought South Carolina was going to have a great season. They still might. We all like Beamer ball out there. But North Carolina really handled them in this ball game in Charlotte between the border states there. And North Carolina looked sharp, a little better on defense. Cedric Gray, he had 120-something tackles last year at middle linebacker. He's still roaming the field out there for Carolina. They looked really good. 18th, we've got Duke. We just talked about the convincing physical win over Clemson. Very impressive. Ole Miss comes in at 17th. They've got Tulane this weekend. That's going to be a fun game. Tulane beat South Alabama. Tulane beat USC last year in the bowl game, in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Watch out. That's going to be a fun one on Saturday. Utah, they're 1-0. We mentioned they're going to Baylor. Gosh, you just don't think Baylor's going to lay over, and Utah may still have injury issues, so that's going to be one to watch. We're going to keep our eyes on that. Utah, we think they're pretty good. Next up, this is where we find LSU. After leading in the first half, they got steamrolled in the second half against Florida State in Orlando. They've got some secondary issues. They've got people all around. One thing we were concerned about, we didn't see a heck of a lot of Harold Perkins the other night, and it wasn't because he was just getting blocked all over the place. They moved his position coming into this season. That may have been a mistake. It may have been better to let him run more than he is now, be more instinctive from his other spot. So LSU going to have to take a look at that. I mean, I know Brian Kelly knows more about coaching than I ever thought about it, but didn't see a lot of Harold Perkins out there, and he so impressed us last year. My goodness. 14th, we got Oklahoma. We had a feeling that Oklahoma might be a lot better this year, and nothing we saw Saturday changes our mind on that. They can score some points. I think they're going to surprise some folks this year, Oklahoma. Watch them. Oregon, 13th. Now, the Duck died, I think, Saturday. 81 points, untold push-ups. I saw a photograph of him about dead. So, Oregon might want to stop in the 60s or 70s so they don't kill the Duck. But they played Portland State. We're going to see more down the road. They got a big game this weekend. Texas Tech. Man, that's going to be a good football game. Texas Tech. Watch out. That's going to be a good one. Got my eye on that. Oregon State was 12th. DJ Uiagalelei did a fantastic job for Oregon State. And everybody thought he was a problem at Clemson, possibly including us. And apparently not. He looked really good. Uiagalelei there with Oregon State. Watch the Beavers. They're good. Yeah, they're a really good football team. Tennessee is 11th. And they did everything that you wanted your team to do in the home opener. They look good. Joe Milton at quarterback. They've got some games down the road here. We'll see what they got Florida in a couple weeks. We're going to catch that, see what's going on there. But Tennessee right in a good spot. Okay, folks, now before we jump into the top 10, want to invite you to get over to Facebook and like us at the Color and Pageantry over there. We do updates during the week. We're not the biggest website on the planet or Facebook site or anything like that, but we got some stuff over there you might be interested in, so do check us out at the Color and Pageantry over on Facebook. 10th, we have Notre Dame. Now, they've had two impressive outings. Sam Hartman, the Wake Forest transfer, over there looking sharp. Now, Notre Dame's got North Carolina State this weekend. North Carolina State, they're not ranked in our top 25, but they are a good football team. Make no mistake about it. So that's going to be a good game to gauge Notre Dame. And they could get beat. NC State's good. So let's watch that one. But so far, Notre Dame looking really good. Southern Cal is 9th. They're scoring at will. Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams. The guy's fantastic. They got skilled people all over the place. Offensively, they're fantastic. Defensively, Mason Cobb, the Oklahoma State transfer, making a lot of big plays from his linebacker spot, but they still have vulnerabilities on the stop side, and they're going to have to get those fixed if they want to get into the big world down the stretch there. So Southern Cal is 9th. Texas is 8th. Now, the Longhorns did not play particularly well in the opener, but they have their minds on going to Alabama this weekend. The Horns almost beat the Tide last year, and if they want to jump back into the national goings-on, Texas going to have to beat Alabama Saturday, and they got the people to do it. Okay, so we're going to watch it. Now, Penn State beat West Virginia. West Virginia, it was not a big-time decisive win for the Lions, but listen, West Virginia's back's against the wall. Their coach is, he needs to win or he's going to be out of there. And they played tough, West Virginia. And they're tough anyway, usually, over history. They've always been pretty tough. But anyway, Penn State did everything that they needed to do, and they won the ball game, and they keep marching on. Penn State, we think they're a very good football team. They've got good lines of scrimmage, good skill people. If that new quarterback is what we think he might be, then watch out for Penn State. They've got their Big Ten foes coming up later in the year, the two that they need to beat. You know who they are. Speaking of them, one of them, Ohio State, we got them at 6th. They were 5th in our preseason. They did not look good. They had problems for their quarterback getting the ball to the wide receivers, a little bit on the same line as Clemson. But the problem with Ohio State's not the receivers. It's the quarterback. He couldn't get it to him. The receivers at Ohio State are the best receiving room in the country. So we're going to keep our eye on that. There could be some issues going on there. Washington is 5th. We mentioned Washington a little earlier. Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback, he's got two fantastic wide receivers to throw to. And boy, he threw to them against Boise State the other weekend. Boise State, not a slouch football team, and they whipped them up pretty good. Washington, keep your eye on those Huskies. 4, we got Alabama. Now, Nick Saban, every time he slided and finishes, he comes back with a vengeance, many times winning the national championship. Alabama looks like they don't have the quarterback problems that we thought they might. And if they don't have quarterback problems, then they don't have any problems. So watch out, Alabama. Remember, if you listen to our preseason preview, Alabama, most all their tough games are at home, and their problems are out on the road, not in Tuscaloosa. So watch out, Alabama. We moved them up this week. Michigan is 3rd. We had Michigan 2nd in our preseason poll. They did not play bad, but they did not win in a major, decisive way like some of the other top contenders did. Nothing wrong with that. Harbaugh is out with a suspension. Michigan's going to be fine. We moved them from 2nd to 3rd. And part of the reason why we did that is, did you see Florida State take out LSU in Orlando? There's some grown men out there for the Seminoles, and the quarterback, he got shaky a little bit there early. He threw one interception. He about threw another one. But, boy, they came out in the second half, and they just used everybody out there. They got an arsenal of people, and they just hit LSU all over the place. They could have easily been in the 50s. LSU got that late touchdown. Man, that was a decisive victory right there. And we may have had the Seminoles underrated. We had them 4th, and we may have had them underrated. They could be trouble. Question is, can they keep it up? They got to win at Clemson in a couple weeks. If they do that, you may as well put them in the playoff. And number 1, until they get beat, they could win 17-14 next weekend. That's okay, as long as they keep winning. Are the Georgia Bulldogs. Talent everywhere. Quarterback looked okay, looked good. So hey man, Brock Bowers is out there. Don't worry, it's the Georgia Bulldogs. They are probably going to have to beat themselves if they're going to get beat before they get to the playoff. That's about what it boils down to. So Georgia, they're number 1. Okay, folks, that wraps up our Week 1 Top 25. Drop us some comments. Did we mess something up? Somebody's overrated. Somebody's underrated. We forgot somebody needs to be in the poll. Somebody shouldn't be in the poll. Maybe y'all think Colorado shouldn't be in there. That'd be interesting. Drop us some comments. Let us know what you think. We'll be here every week giving you our top 25. And, man, if we mess something up, it's going to be exposed because one of these teams we got ranked, they're going to be out of there. We had Texas Tech, by the way, ranked, and they are gone. So we might have been incorrect on that. Now, they go out and beat Oregon this weekend, then we'll see. But as we get down the road, we're going to be evaluating ourselves and just talking about what's going on in the game we love, college football. So join us. Hopefully, we'll see you next week.